Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and today we're going to be checking out the Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alfred and Michelangelo 2-pack from DC Collectibles. So I got to start by giving a very special thanks to DC Collectibles because they were kind enough to send along the Alfred and Mikey pack early for me to take a look at. So very cool stuff, but full disclosure, this was provided by DC Collectibles. This of course is based on the Batman vs. TMNT animated film, which of course is based on the comic book crossovers, and they are sold exclusively at GameStop stores. Of course, this continues the window boxes we've seen with all the other figures. You can see lots of accessories in there, including, we got a skateboard there for Mikey, we've got a little tea mug there for Alfred, really cool stuff. And when we flip this around to the backside, you can see all the other figures that are available in this first series. Of course, the Batman and Leo pack, the Raph and Robin pack, Donnie and Batgirl, and Shredder and Ra's al Ghul. A really fun set of action figures. Let's go ahead and rip this box open and take a closer look at them. All right, we've got Mikey and Alfred outside of the box. To take a closer look at them, we are going to start with the tape measure. You can see that Alfred goes almost to a full 7 inches tall, while Mikey is definitely on the shorter side, only being at 5 inches tall. So it really kind of fits right in with the rest of the turtles, how they're all in scale. Mikey has often been depicted as the shortest of the turtles, and you can definitely see that when we line him up with some of the other turtles from these particular sets here. And then Alfred, he's pretty tall and lanky actually. If we bring in Batman, you can see that he stands pretty much the same height as Batman, but of course Batman is much beefier than Alfred. Alfred is a very thin, very lanky figure. So why don't we go ahead and start by taking a look at Alfred here. Yes, so he's very skinny. Got that very cool stature there. You can see I've got him posed with like his hands behind his back, which is really just a great way to display the figure. But I love the design. The sculpted details of all of the figures in these assortments has been really good. And of course they're made to match that animated film, and Alfred is another one that does a really good job of that. Some really nice details there. The mouth looks a little strange because you can see they use like a black outline to outline his mouth there, but it looks a little weird. It almost looks like his mustache is kind of doubled up. I get what they're going for. They're trying to really show the frown there, and there's been a lot of that extra like black line work, which gives them that very animated or very comic book look there. It does look a little weird on Alfred's mouth, but other than that, I really like the overall look of this guy. He's mostly wearing black. Of course, he's got the white shirt, the white gloves. You got the fancy shoes on there. So overall, he looks really good. He's just very skinny and very lanky. That does make it a little strange, kind of posing him around a little bit. For example, getting him to stand up straight, I really kind of had to mess with the articulation in the legs just a little bit to kind of get him standing up straight, because of course Alfred would stand straight up, right? He's got to have good posture. So you do kind of have to play around with that a little bit. You can see the legs are a little bowed out down there, but it's not so bad. Overall, he looks really great. So let's go and talk about Alfred's articulation, because he's just as articulated as all the other figures in this particular lineup. You can turn the head left and right. It slightly moves up and down, but mostly it's just going to go left and right for you. You can bring the arms outwards at the shoulders. They also move forwards and backwards. You got your swivels at your elbow. You got a bend at the elbow. You can see it's not that far of a bend, just a single joint there. You do have the swivels at the wrist, which also roll around there because they are ball jointed wrists. Doesn't really look like we've got anything in the torso here because of the sculpt of the jacket and everything. We can kind of turn the waist. It's real tight there though. The legs are ball jointed, so they can go outwards, they can move forwards and backwards, slightly hindered by the top of the pants there, the sculpt around the hips, but not too bad. He does have double joints at the knees. Check that out. Double jointed knees there. And then the ankles can kind of swivel left and right. And they do move slightly up and down, but not quite as far as we saw with like Batman or some of those other characters. So it's not really like super posable. There's some decent articulation there, but you can get some good Alfred poses out of him. And crazy enough, this figure comes with a ton of interchangeable parts, just like we've seen for other figures in this line like Batman. So he's got lots of swappable hands, and you can see right now we've got him with like these open hands. We can also swap on some closed fists if you want, and if you want to do that, it's very simple. Just pop the hands right off the ball joint there. You can take the new hands, pop them right on in place, boom, just like that. And now we've got Alfred with the closed fists, so he can just keep his hands down to his sides, or I guess if he wants to throw some fisticuffs, he can do that too. He's also got a pair of gripping hands, and he's got a pair of these hands right here. These are really interesting, and I think there's a couple uses for him. First of all, he does include his own slice of pizza, so these could be his dainty holding on to a slice of pizza hands. But I don't know, they could also be his playing the circle game hands, or they can play his doing John Cena's entrance hands. Whatever you want him to be, his time is now. So aside from the slice of pizza, the other accessory he comes with is this little mug of tea, and those gripping hands are really great for that. In fact, I've already got the mug kind of in this gripping hand here. So let me get this hand attached to the ball joint, just like that. And now you can have Alfred bringing Batman a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, or I don't know, whatever Batman drinks. I would imagine it's tea, right? It's got to be tea. So just a really fun accessory, and overall, a really fun Alfred action figure. All right, so we actually got a Michelangelo to kick off this line, which was the San Diego exclusive Mikey as Batman figure. And when I reviewed that, I speculated that the figure was basically going to be exactly the same as the regular Mikey, just with a different head sculpt and the cape. And it looks like my guess was exactly right, because the new Mikey figure does appear to share the exact same body. The paint looks the same. The only differences, of course, are the head sculpts. We got the different head sculpts, and then, you got the bat cape, and also the thumbs up hand is not included with the regular Mikey there. Of course, you could probably just swap those right on if you want to use the thumbs up ones, because they're all in the same little ball joints there. So that's pretty cool. You could do that. In fact, here, let's just try it. Let's just make sure it works right now. I don't want to say that we probably could without knowing for sure. There we go, check it out. So look at that. So it doesn't come with the thumbs ups, but hey, if you've got that Batman Mikey, you can use the thumbs up hands, which is pretty cool. So I think Mikey might be my favorite of the turtle designs so far in this line. I don't know, something about this just really works. I mean, he's got a fantastic look, totally recognizable as Mikey. I love the big smirk on his face there, kind of the rounder, wide eyes, definitely gives him that more innocent look that Michelangelo would have. But I think the overall design of these guys is great, because they definitely have a very comic book feel. Even though they're based on that animation, they definitely kind of have those IDW vibes, which I think is fantastic for these guys. So let's go and talk about the articulation. Figure looks great paint wise. He feels nice and solid. Head can swivel left and right. Of course, his bandana pieces are molded to look like they're laying over his shoulders. So, in some poses, they're going to look like they're sticking straight off to the side. So, that's just kind of part of that sculpt, though. The shoulders can kind of come upwards. You can see they don't go up too high, but they can also move forwards and backwards. We do have a single bend at the elbow, as well as a swivel at the elbow. The elbow pads are part of the bicep sculpt there. They're kind of attached to the triceps back there. Then those wrists, of course, are ball jointed, so they can swivel all the way around there, just like that. The torso doesn't really have much in the way of articulation. It does. I mean, you can see it kind of in there, but it doesn't really do much because of how hard the shell is around it there. Otherwise, the legs are ball jointed, so they can come outwards, they can move forwards and backwards. Pretty good range of motion there. You do have double joints at the knees, which are super tight, and you can see that the knee pads are right in the middle of those joints, which looks really good. And then the ankles are jointed so they can move up and down at a pretty nice range of motion there, and then they can also pivot side to side. So it's a decent range of articulation. It's exactly the same as we've seen for the other turtles in this lineup. They are definitely not like super duper posable, but it's a decent amount of articulation. And he does come with interchangeable accessories like hands. I already showed you how we could put on the that thumbs up hand from Batman Mikey, but he also has a set of gripping hands here, which I'm gonna bring in right now. And you can see I'm just popping on the ball joints, because you might have noticed holstered on the sides are his nunchucks, which is really great. You can just holster those right on the side of the belt there, which is very cool. By the way, speaking of the belts, once again, I gotta point out how I love the way they worked the initials into the belt, where they made it just kind of look like straps on the belt, but clearly there's an M right there on the belt, which is a great nod to the original toy line and cartoon series. The nunchucks are very cool because they do feature real metal chains. So very cool. They don't feel quite as fragile as, say, Leonardo's swords. For some reason, Leo's swords felt really fragile to me. Mikey's got a real tight grip here too. So he holds onto these nunchucks really well, just like that. And I always approve of the real metal chain. So very, very cool stuff. In addition, he does also come with the flat open hands, which is something we've seen with all the turtles in this particular lineup. So that's good for holding onto those slices of pizza if you want to. And lastly, he comes with a skateboard, which is a really fun accessory. I think it's detailed really good. I like the sculpting on the top, how it actually looks like grip tape on there. I will point out, however, that the wheels do not roll. These are all one solid sculpt, so this is more of a display piece, no real wheels. However, one of the positives, you see these little stickers on the bottom? There's a really great nod to the vintage Mondo Gecko action figure right there. That little skull with the crossbone and the skateboard, that's on Mondo Gecko's shirt and his skateboard in the vintage toy line. So that's some really great fan service right there. I love it. So still a fun accessory, even if it doesn't have real wheels and can really roll around. All right, guys, it's comparison time. Just for fun, I thought I would go ahead and line Mikey up with some of the other collectible action figures out there, some of his collector counterparts from NECA Toys, like the one based on the original cartoon series, as well as the one based on the original movie. You can see that one, of course, is quite a bit bigger, but it's really cool just seeing all these different versions of the Turtles and seeing how we get all these different iterations in action figure form. So there you guys go. That is a look at the Batman vs. TMNT Michelangelo and Alfred 2-pack. Once again, I have to give a very special thanks to DC Collectibles who provided this for me so that I can take a look at it early. I believe this one is shipping in November and is exclusive to GameStop stores. So happy hunting, my friends. Hey guys, thank you so very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, leave me a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, my friends.